Those getting back to work now in England. But businesses, of course, have been told they must be COVID secure. They must be safe for their staff. Let's discuss what is a very big issue for employers and discuss how they can make the workplace safe for all their employees. Let's speak to Kate Walter. She's the co-founder of Rhino Safety, which is a health and safety consultancy which advises a wide variety of businesses. Hello, Kate. Very good afternoon to you.
Hi.
Well, given what you do, you must be exceptionally busy. I wonder what your thoughts are here on this day that we have the beginnings of an easing in England anyway. What sort of questions are you being asked by your clients? What are the key areas of concern for employers?
Well, yes, we are. We've been extremely busy this week. We actually started to see things pick up last week. We found that I think most employers started to get an inkling that things were going to start returning to normal. So they were trying to be proactive. But of course, the guidance wasn't published until very late on Monday evening. So we've been working for the past 2 weeks on the draft guidance that we had available to us to try and prepare our clients. And we have actually produced a pack specifically for them that covers all of the that they need to be doing. But I think the main concerns that most of our clients have are around the actual clarity of the guidance itself, in terms of the fact that, first of all, it is just guidance. This is not legislation. So it is an advisory document. And what that means is it allows employers to make their own judgments and assess things within their own workplaces and premises. But that also places a huge amount of responsibility and liability on them. So there's obviously a lot of business owners out there who are quite scared about the ramifications of getting this wrong.
It's really interesting, isn't it, that it is guidance, not legislation. And the guidance is try to enable your members of staff, for example, most obviously to distance themselves 2 meters apart, to section off kitchens so that people go in a sort of rota system almost, so that they can socially isolate, that sort of thing. So, but that's easier said than done, depending on the workplace, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes. And I think as well, it's worth noting the fact that all of the guidance says in terms of social distancing and keeping 2 meters apart in the workplace, it says to do that where possible. Well, a lot of businesses, particularly SMEs, use premises that are as small as possible because of issues with things like business rates. So it might not be possible for them to separate out their workforce by 2 meters. Now, the guidance says do it if possible, but what our client is saying to us is, if that's not possible and our employees refuse to return to work because they feel that's not safe, what do we do then? Because they can't just magic up space from nowhere. So there's some really grave concerns about how to practically apply this guidance.
Yes, that's interesting. What do you say to them? What do they do then?
Well, in terms of the advice we're giving, we're finding that actually at the moment it's slightly easier to implement for businesses, particularly where they have furloughed some or all of their team, because they are managing to bring in maybe just a few staff at the time. I don't know if you can see behind me, I'm in my office at the moment. We just have one other member of our team in at the moment. And the rest of our team are working from home because they can. So it's in that sense, measures like that can be taken, but longer term, when we start to move in towards June, July, and towards the end of the summer, where there are likely to be more people wanting to return to work and more businesses trying to get their staff off the furlough scheme, that's when I think it will get really tricky. And I think businesses are going to have to be really creative about perhaps staggering working hours between staff, maybe having teams of people who work in the premises at any one time and everyone else works from home. I think it's going to take a lot of adaptation on businesses' behalf.
That is so interesting. I feel as if there's much more we could discuss, but as you say, it's a long road ahead, so we may well speak again. There's an awful lot for employers to think about, isn't there? Thank you very much. That's Kate Walter, the co-founder of Rhino Safety, which is a health and safety consultancy. Thanks very much, Kate.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about one sector that has been allowed to reopen today. That is gardens.